I'm going to read some things that are very important. It is not important to see. I would like you, when and if you feel like it, to close your eyes. The words are important. The words are what communicates the images. I live a life of visual communication, but without the words, without the thoughts behind the words, it is not. These words to be spoken here are important. I would like to read from them. Have you ever swum in the ocean far from land or be forcibly carried out by a riptide into the deep? I have. It is scary. It's frightening. It is truly, truly frightening. And panic wells up. The sense of existential departure from this life looms. There is a desperate desire to get to the shore as soon as possible. That feeling of a complete lack of control, of the real possibility of drowning, is overwhelming. Overwhelming too is the looming present of a warming planet and changing climate. Change is the only constant. We know that's true. Change is the only constant. But the speed at which we humans have affected this existential crisis needs contemplation. Let me come back to this personally experienced analogy of a riptide. The first thing to do is to stay calm. The first thing to do is to stay calm and collected. Nature's forces are too powerful for us to be adversarial. And that is a message for the engineers. Nature's forces are too powerful for us to be adversarial. In a riptide, you try to keep afloat. When the calm comes, and it does come, swim out of the current and see how far the shore is. And if you too are calm and still afloat, prepare to swim back. Rest, recuperate, regenerate. Your energy, your will, work with the waves. The salt in the water does carry your weight. We are in a riptide of climate change. We are in a riptide of climate change. Circumstances have accelerated, and they have been accelerated by us. To mitigate this is a marathon swim. Let me tell you a story. That is what I do. I tell stories, but I tell stories from the heart, and I tell stories from experience. At 63, it's racking up, and I'm intending for a lot more, inshallah. So let me tell you a story. When I was young, and I was young once, I would fish for pleasure. It's a very bloodthirsty activity, but I would fish for pleasure, both from above the water and from below. And in the 90s, our coastal waters were brimming with marine life. At sunset, large schools of surmai, that mackerel, would corral baitfish and jump out of the oceans. They would jump out of the ocean's surface in a dance with the piercing rays of the setting sun. Thousands along the coast. Seen in the 90s. The surface of the calm winter seas was freckled by baitfish. Local fishermen would praise the bounty and claim it as a never-ending gifted resource. Khuda ki deen. Or thi, or hai. Fishing trawlers then arrived. International fishing trawlers, foreign ones. Foreign fishing fleets, offshore factories. 1 year to the next, the mackerel were no more. The dance had ended. Those days, I too participated in that carnage. Hiding in submerged caves to spear passing barramundi. which incidentally is a very delicious fish. So we'd hide in caves and poof. Then the roller necks arrived, and they rolled over the reefs, flattening them, shattering them, the nurseries of the reef fish. It is a fact. It is a fact that 1 year to the next, there were no fish left. What did I do? I stopped fishing. I just stopped fishing. Over those years, those pristine, clean waves and reef overhangs started showing signs of trash, aluminium cans, then plastic. Every diving season, more and more solid waste accumulated. What did I do? I stopped diving. I just simply stopped diving. When I look out of an aeroplane window at my beloved estuaries of the Indus River Delta, I see the blue waters of the ocean, the olive green, life-giving estuaries, and the milky, dirty, green, grey, polluted, untreated human effluent and trash, all flowing out from our cities. All of our cities. Huge lenses of discolored toxic waters are seen, and they're offset against the clean ocean currents. They're still clean ocean currents. All of it left for nature to absorb and deal with. The seas of our urban centers are declared as dead seas. Dead seas. The amount of trash we dump into our Indus River, its delta, and our seas is something to be truly alarmed about. And what did I do? I just simply started to venture further offshore and into new territories of the mangroves. In the early 2000s, I started to explore the estuaries and the mangroves of the still truly great Indus River Delta. And from a distance, they appeared as a thin green line on the horizon. But as one gets closer, the scale, the height of those aquatic water trees was astounding. Canopies that reached 50 to 60 feet in height. Canopies that reached 50 to 60 feet in height. Avenues of the Avicena Marina mangrove that allowed a boat to sail into dark, shaded tunnels and secret passages across islands. It was magical, and I still wake up with dreams of those images. This was not a forest that had never been cut. Old stumps still existed, and then some with lateral new trunks growing out of them. The forest had already regenerated, at least once. We hope it will regenerate again, because it is being cut. Over the years, the canopy height seemed to shrink. The width of the channels became wider each year. First, the tall trees were cut, then the less tall, and now in 2024, those same towering mangrove channels have trees. Please note, they have trees that are about 20 feet tall from 50. Fact. I am witness. There are two words. There are two words that are and will be incredibly important now and in the future. And they are halophytes. Please read it up. Halophytes and the intertidal zone. The shore and the sea and the land in between. The land in between is the intertidal zone. Halophytes are plants that thrive and survive in salt and saline waters. And with the desertification of our ecosystems and the rising salinity of water, these plants are gaining importance. They will play a major role in food security very soon. Research and experimentation is being undertaken. It becomes paramount. It becomes paramount that nature and the growing of food does not become proprietary. That is the job of the universities. Food security requires agriculture in even our saline lands that we have destroyed with our canals. Halophytes grow on them. Let it not be proprietary that a multinational or any other local organization has claim over the intellectual property of growing halophytes. This is the job of you students. It is a lot of work is being done at the Agricultural University in Faisalabad. A lot of local institutions are working on it, and I see the looming specter of proprietary halophyte agriculture. The intertidal zone is an area of the seashore that lies between the low and the high tide. The low and the high tide. The further north or south of the equator that one is positioned on dictates the height of the tidal variation. Physics, geography, read it up. Our coast in the delta has a variation of 13 feet. Twice a day, depending on the position of the sun and the moon, the tides rise and lower from 0 to 13 feet twice a day. I fight not to allow buildings on intertidal zones, on islands. To this date, I'm somewhat successful. Will I remain? But we need to understand intertidal zones. We need to understand where we should be, where we should not be. This is the zone where the mangroves grow. They need this ecosystem and are a pivotal species in providing balance to the ecologies of the earth. They produce 4 times more oxygen than the rainforests do, and they are the second larger producers of oxygen out of the plants that exist. The plant that produces the highest amount of oxygen is the water phytoplankton. And after them come the mangroves. The coast of Pakistan, even Karachi, used to have an abundance of both. But excessive marine pollution from Karachi has caused some of the plankton, substantially, not just some, of the plankton to morph into a form toxic to marine life. The reduction of water flow from the 1800s into our delta has made the greater delta arid and almost barren. This is that I call the Western Delta. So I apologize, I made a mistake. This is the Eastern Delta. The estuaries near the coastal urban centers, however, still have sweet water. Our shores, Karachi's shores, are the Eastern Delta. And the mangroves found on the Western Delta are small and stunted. And their growth is slow. Of the 8 original local species of mangroves, still 4 exist here. And attempts by the Forest Department to bring back biodiversity in this area is successful and very laudable. The mangroves on the Eastern Delta, however, are profuse. They grow much faster and taller than the ones on the west. The coastal effluent outflow provides dilution of seawater. The mangroves near Karachi grow fast because of the gutter water that we throw out untreated. Sounds wonderful, but it comes with a caveat. These plants thrive here. However, the pollutants in the water have caused the mangroves to become a monoculture, which is very dangerous. And mostly the Avicenna marina grows here. And the Avicenna marina is a wonder tree. It survives. The other species have gone extinct. Any monoculture is dangerous for any ecology, but it needs to be worked upon. It not only thrives in this toxic environment, it cleans the water. It locks incredible amounts of carbon into the mud banks and removes waterborne toxins. It is a filter and host to vast networks of mycelium. Its leaves are antibiotic and its bark has a beautiful ochre dye. The flowers are profuse with a subtle but sensuous fragrance. Their nectar produces an astringent medicinal honey that is delicious. I'm in love with this tree. इतनी कुर्बत है इस पेड़ के साथ कि मुस्कुराहट आ जाती है शक्ल पे. Because ये अगर खुदा की देन कराची को मिली हुई है, वो ये आवासीना मैंग्रोव मिला हुआ है और उसको हम बेदर्दगी से काट रहे हैं. Our coastal cities need the mangroves on their periphery. The vast existing forests are needed to provide oxygen to a tree-starved Karachi. Our shorelines need this intertidal zone to filter the outflowing water. Fisheries require these existing forests as nurseries for marine life. urban edges need them for the protection. The trunks and the roots of the mangroves protect our cities from sea surges and storms. Abdullah Shah Ghazi, perhaps. Qaiser, most definitely, are embodied in these forests, and we are cutting them. The intertidal zone is the nexus of the land and water. It is an alien ecosystem to the one we terrestrial mammals are used to, and it has been classified as a wasteland. It certainly is not. Vast forests are here, existing trees that any city would need to provide safe, healthy, productive environment to its citizens. These are an asset to Karachi, but only where they remain. These are an asset to Karachi, but only where they remain. And we need to protect and keep these still existing forests. The islands need to be protected nature reserve, actively maintained marine protected areas. And that is the pivotal central idea and message that I want to project. We need to have marine protected areas. These forests need to be looked after. It can be done. I'm not lost. If I may have one more minute, I'd like to read something. This is from my, this is a verse on this subject. Some verses are written in my latest book. It's titled, "There is water on the lens." Water on my lens, trickling down my face, soaking me to skin, winds blowing, filling my sails, shredding them too, canopies quaking, gusts punching wherever there will. Shelter seen, calm reached. Under sinking trees, waters not drowning, gentle there, at inundated roots, trunks strong, safety still here, but only where they still remain. Yes, there too is water on my lens. Thank you.